Ho, everyone, and welcome to this Kodarit Christmas special webinar. So today we have fun with our team and with you. So first, I will shortly introduce Kodarit to you, and after that, our baby Kodarit teacher, Elina, will show you something what we do in our baby Kodarit, so our 5 to 7 years old courses. And after that, Hector, our technical manager and one of our lovely coding teacher, will show you a scratch game. So how we start with our 8 to 14 years old students. And then after that, we have two parents. So these are Scott, whose two children started in this fall, and then Ongosus Ilo, whose daughter Ruth has already done all our levels, so she just passed our black belt level. And after that, we have also Q&A session. What? Okay, so I'm Suvi Syrjäläinen, the head of Kodarit, and I founded this company 7 years ago. And before that, I worked as a software developer in high-tech companies. When I started Kodarit, our world was already suffering a lack of IT talent and software developer shortage problem. But there were no customized coding training for children or possibility to do coding as a group hobby. But now there is. We know the best way. So after the 7 years, we know the best way to teach coding to children. So we have developed this kind of level course system where our youngest students, so those 5 to 7 years old students, they start from baby Kodarit level, and our 8 to 14 years old student, they start from level 1. And after that, they can continue to level 2, 3, 4, and end up to the black belt level, where they can continue with us as long as they want. We have gotten Pedagogical Quality Education Alliance Finland certificate to our level course system. So we use Finnish pedagogy and our courses are fun. So if you have thought that coding is this kind of black and white thing only, it's not. You can, for example, create your own Google map, your own paint, different kind of 2D and 3D games. You can program art or devices in our lessons, for example. We have selected the highest quality and the widest range of content to our lessons. And that is why we are the best coding school in the world to the children. And that is why we are now also the biggest coding school here in Finland. Now we have packets, our excellence, to licensing packets that we sell to our international customers. So if you are interested to register your children to our coding courses, our international or Finnish coding courses, or if you want to establish your own coding school or provide our courses in your educational institute, please go to the kodarit.com page, or you can also contact to me. So that was my Kodarit introduction, and next our baby Kodarit teacher Elina will show something that we do in our youngest children level. So
Thank you, Suvi. Yes, so with our babies, we have to start from the very basics because when they join our baby Kodarit course, they might have never been on a computer before. So everything is new. We start by practicing how to use the keyboard. We start practicing using Zoom if they are online students. They might not know at all how to operate a trackpad or a mouse. So the whole start of the course and many of our first lessons, we combine computer work, basic computer skills with visual coding practices. To make it a bit more fun, I will share you a quick exercise that we do for trackpad using or just mouse work. And should I share this link on the chat so everybody can practice along with me?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Here it comes. And I will share my screen as well. And we can do this together. It is a really, really good exercise. I asked my students what the most fun exercises were, and this definitely got the most votes. So we draw a stick man. So you see, we can combine trackpad work with visual visual design skills. Now we can design our own character that we will be using in our exercise. And because it is Christmas, I will have an elf character, but the kids usually come up with much better characters. So then we press done, and now we have this little story / game going on with our, but now he is also froze up. I'm afraid I will have to restart him and hope he works then. But you are very welcome to practice. Oh, now he got a little bit overweight, but that's all right. I'll just draw him really long legs. There we go. Oh no, what's up with him? Does he work for you? No, now he works. Okay, so now we have a box. And now the children, they are usually really excited because now they see that there will be surprises. And then we practice drawing a key. As you can see, it's not so easy working your mouse when you have to draw these high design things. And there we go. Now I draw a balloon. The children are always really worried that their balloon doesn't really turn out completely round. Neither is mine, but then surprise the balloon isn't a balloon, but it's an egg. And now things get really exciting, and we have a dragon. And now we get to fight the dragon. Sometimes the children, they don't draw swords, but they have all sorts of weapons going on here. Yeah, this doesn't really look like a sword much either. You can always press on the cancel, and you can redo your design if you're not completely happy how your work turns out. I have to close this ad. And there we go. Now we have a fire going on, and we have to make it stop. So we have a cloud. This doesn't look so much like a cloud either. But we have to stop the fire. But this doesn't take us anywhere. We end up in the ditch. And now we gotta swim but this isn't really working out for us either, because we are facing our next problem. We have sharks. Now it's not only dragons, but we have sharks as well. Well, what we're gonna do is we drain. So I'll make this a bit more. There we go. Now we have a drain, and now we flush everything away. And now we have lightning and be creative every day. Now, this was one of our stickman work, and the children love this. There is also episode 2 for this. I won't be showing that, but you can do it in your own time, and it is equally fun. Then the second one the kids really wanted me to share with you is visual coding. You will be doing more of this with Hector in a little bit, but this is another platform. This is from Code.org, and this is a dance party. Actually, I should share the link with you first before I get into this, so you can all have fun with me. And this is really educational, actually, because you get to learn all these different modern dance moves. I used to be a ballet dancer, so I don't know any of these moves. I mean, I didn't used to know, but now I'm a pro almost. So here we have our dance party, and this is now visual coding. I have my sounds turned off, but like you see, here we are dancing to We Don't Talk About Bruno. But you can change the song as well in case you're fed up of it already. So now we have a cat. There we go. And we have to wait for a few beats. We have 4 measures, I believe, before we get to move on in our exercise. Yes. And I believe things get more exciting now. Now we can start working with our buttons, and now we can make our cat do things. But I think, yes, here you see so many moves to do. Let's do zombie. And there we go. Now I will press up, and there we go, zombie cat. And by this time, sometimes the children really they stop a little bit with the coding and start doing random dance moves, which is fun and okay. But now we have we have 2 dancers, and they have to do different moves with different keys. And now things get a bit more complicated, because as you can see, we have cats and bears, and we have to make sure that we have here selected the correct animal, because as you can see, we can choose from different ones. Actually, I will change my bear to a sloth, because sloths are cute. But now I have to make sure I change my command to sloths, but I don't want random moves. I will do a body roll, and I will floss. And these arrows, if you're wondering, it's just to what direction my characters start. So now I have different moves. See, my sloth and my cat. Oh, yeah, it's a shame it stops after 4. So there is a limited time, but once we proceed with this exercise, we have, okay, now I'll just jump to the next one. We have limited time, except when it goes to the end. So now this exercise, it gets a bit more complicated, and sometimes we just talk about the measures, or you can change to seconds as well. Okay, maybe that happens in the next one. But soon we start adding different shapes and forms to this, and I think I am running out of time, so I will stop this exercise here. But if you are excited, you can continue in your own time and learn all about different dance moves. And with the kids, I let everybody pick their favorite move, and then we combine it into a dance at the end of the class. So then we have a little dance party. We can do it also on Zoom. So yes, we do this not only by visual coding online, but also in a physical form, because it's fun and the kids love this exercise. But now I will give this over to Hector, and he will show you Scratch, which is equally fun.
Hey, Elina, can I ask that if our students cannot read,
yes,
how you teach those commands for them? Because usually we start with those kind of picture commands that because we do not require that our students, our 5 to 7 years old students, can read. But how you teach
exactly
those written commands?
So we just talk them through it the whole time. Surprisingly many, because you can change the language as well for those. The translation isn't perfect most of the time, but it helps a little bit. And quite quickly, with just the shapes, they learn how to, and the colors, they help as well. But then we just read them through, and they quite often ask, what is this word, and how do I get this move, and what is this move called? Sometimes they just go through the list, and then they say like, hey, this is a good one, what is this? And then we explain it to them. It seems to work really, really well, even though not all of them can read.
Suddenly they start to read or calculate things.
Yes, because in the beginning, this is our last exercise, the dance party exercise. It's in our very final class of the first baby Kodarit course. So they have been doing already 14 hours of visual coding, and it very slowly introduces also written commands. So they learn to, I can't say that they learn how to read in our baby Kodarit class, but they learn to pick up a certain commands, which is really, really nice to see as well.
Yes, it is. But hey, Hector.
Yeah.
So
I think it would be better if we change laptops and
they
can hear me and
okay, so you so you come to
fine.
my laptop. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll open a Scratch to you. Just a second, so that you can sign in and
Yeah,
you
it's
can
okay.
continue. Yeah.
Yes. No, you are Hector and I'm Zoe. We have changed. Hello everyone, I'm Hector Rojas. The technical manager in Kodarit. So I also teach some classes in English. And we want to work a little bit with Scratch today. In the first levels, we have some coding. There are levels like very strict, and they just give problems to the students, and they learn how to solve problems and how to analyze these. So it helps a lot to learn how to think in a logical way to solve some exercises and how to make a code that I can guide some character in the screen and it can solve the problems at the end. We also have the Scratch, and the Scratch is a little bit more creative, even that also we include more problems inside of it or more questions, and they will learn how to make some solutions and how to be creative finding these ones. So I will share the screen of the Scratch, and I can share also the page with you. Just send it to you. Okay, if you want to explore it or you can also just follow my screen. It's okay. The idea is that you see how the kids will front or take an approach to these problems. So in Scratch, we go to the top level, it says create, and then we go to this part here. That is the welcoming page. And here we will have like some areas that they're where we can manage the sprites. That is basically the characters that we have. We have the stage or the background. I can include one. Sorry, problem here. Okay, let's go again. Okay, now it's working. So here we have different backgrounds and we can create different stories with the kids. They are really creative and they usually make their own stories, or they make their own version of the games to solve the problems. Usually what I try to approach with them is how to find a way to make, for example, the movements of a character, or how to find a way to make, for example, create points. It's not loading the backdrops. Yeah, sorry, this laptop is a little bit slow. And some problems.
Yeah, you can shut down. So that is Unity. That is what we
But
do.
it's not, they are not seeing it.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if now it loads, because there's too many things open the laptop and it's not loading. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see now. Can it work? Please. Yeah, this is not loading anything, so I think it will be better if I go back to my previous one.
Recording is.
Yeah, so it doesn't
Usually
let me
I'm
load.
able to
this
work with
thing.
my laptop.
Yeah, sorry, I will change.
Okay.
And
Okay.
probably you will see
Yeah.
doing what I think, but it will get. So here we have the scratch. And again, as I was mentioned before, we can go here in the down part and search for some background. They are really, really creative and they like to put many different backgrounds or create their own stories. So the scratch tool is really important for the kids and is really useful because they can approach the problems and the coding in a really fun way. So I can see. Okay. So usually I ask them to pick up something that they like, they're related to. In this case, I will pick some basketball game. And the first thing that we need to approach is how to make that this character moves. It depends too much the type of game that we're going to do, or if we're going to do a story, how it's going to move. In this case, for example, we're going to put that this when I click started, that is an event that let us make that the game starts basically. And we can put a control, for example, that forever he will follow my mouse. That is one way that I can, for example, move my character. So in this case, if I put this, you see that my cat is moving. I mean, that's a little bit strange right now. That is one way that I can do that my cat moves, but also I can do it with the keyboard. As Elena showed us before, they have some way to do that in the code or, but also here we can do the same thing. So when I press, for example, a button that is not the right button or the right arrow, it will change the X by 10. It will move it basically to the right. And I can do the same for the left one. Of course, when I'm with the kids, I go more slowly and explain more in detail all the comments, but right now we're going a little bit more farther and faster. So now we have some basic movements. I can put also like that he can go up and down, but like this is okay. Like it works for me. So I always ask them, what do you want that the games goes to? In this case, that I decided we're going to create some basketball games. So my cat is moving here, that, and they can draw also here, like some costumes, or they can pick something else. For the character, I can make some more Christmas styles, and I can put some. Let's see if it goes. Yes, it's working. I can put some Santa playing basketball, for example. And there I go. So they can also include like all these. We teach them also that they can search these images in the right way with according to the rights of the creator. Also, I can do the same, for example, for the ball, and I can put some destroying gifts. And that is mine. In this case, Santa is going to play basketball with this present. Now the problem, it will be like how I make that my present moves and start to bounce one way or another. So we usually start with the when click, the green flag is click, and he starts to do some movements. Usually we always try to put some forever loop, so the whole time is going to do something. And in this case, we can make that he moves 10 steps, and we're gonna make that he bounce in the edge. So now he's moving from side to side. I can make some more style decisions, and I can change the colors or how he turns, if it rotates or doesn't rotate at all, or all around, as I was before. So that is important that they learn that besides that just the code and how to solve these problems of movements, that also that the game is appealing. And that has to do with, for example, when you are creating a program, how is the user interface the same? So that is very important for them to learn also. Okay, we have like some basic movements, but we need that moves a little bit more sided than just from side to side. So we can put it that you just basically bounce here. And now my Santa can interact with the present, but I cannot have done the interaction there. So that is my next problem. And I usually try to let them that, okay, how you can do it? Do you have some ideas? Usually they have an ideas and they have some experience with the Scratch, and with the previous lesson they have learned also. So they pretty much solve these problems pretty easy. It's really satisfactory to see that. So we can go here again, put another forever loop, and we're going to check that if he is going to touch, for example, my spy one that I can rename it and put Santa. So if my div is touching Santa, what he's going to do? So I can change the movement of him, for example, that he's gonna turn 180 degrees and he's gonna return to the same place. And you see, it has some glitch and some problems there, so it's important that I need to solve those things. That's also more and more exercises and more questions that appears what you are designing the game. And it's important for them that learns that, yeah, it's not that it's broken or anything, I can always solve. And they learn to manage these difficulties pretty easy. So one thing easy to do here is, for example, put a little bit more movement after it turns, and there it goes. Let's check. Now it's bouncing and it doesn't get stuck as before. But like this is pretty boring, so now we need to check like, okay, again, what else has a game? Usually the games has like some action movements, sometimes it has an enemy, and sometimes it has points. In this case, we need to create some points. So we will create a variable that is called points. And there appears here, and I need to change my points like every time that I touch something. So basically, when he is touching this net or this hook that is there, I can make that that value change. So again, we can create a new event, and in the controls, we can create a new forever loop. With this forever loop, we can ask that if again he's touching a color, I can put in this case. And that this is another approach that I can take. I can do the same for the priest, the Santa, instead of touching Santa, that is touching, for example, just the nose, and I can pick the color of the nose. It will find it. And with that, they can find it, for example, here is like if a color is touching another color, etc., and they will find like some solutions different than the one that I'm showing in the screen. So usually I try to aim that they explore more solutions and not just the one that I'm putting here straight. After that, we need to put that at the beginning of the game. My points are become 0. And my other variable is gonna change the points by 1 when I'm touching the thing. And now let's see what happens with our game. If you see, now I have the problem that it makes too many points at the same time instead of 1 by 1. So again, it comes another question and another problem. How I solve that it just makes just 1 point. And I can ask them, okay, try to find out what to do, like check all the controls that we have seen before. Usually we have explored all the controls, I don't know how to find it. And I can put in this case, for example, await. And now it makes just 1 point every time that I touch the hook. But if you see, I'm always doing some points or anything, so I can start to make it more difficult or change some variables. I can start to change, for example, every time that I change the point, I can create that the speed rise and the package will move faster, or that the grid that it turns here is not 180 but 170, and it's not going to be that linear of the game, so it's going to change a lot. And then I can make that if he's touching the floor, I'm gonna lose the game, etc., etc. So I can start to make it more and more complicated as I want. That it gives the idea that, okay, I can go pretty much farther. And yeah, this is just a basic example. I can explore, for example, one of the projects that we have done before, and I can show you, for example, this is one of the first semesters that I was teaching, and we developed half of this. After that, I just make it more complex. And this has much more variables, and it has much longer code, so it's really more difficult and more complex and take more ideas to solve all the problems and the creativity. And we can see also the inside, and it has like a bunch of coding, and it's a lot of work in this case. So sometimes in the classes we cannot manage to finish all of this, but it has some nice effects and etc. It has a lot of variables and code that we can play with in the class. So through these activities, what we search with them is that they approach to the problems in a different way, and they learn through the coding how to solve problems in the real life, how to learn a little bit of mathematics also. You need to manage this when you're learning the degrees or when you're managing the time. And all of these skills are really important for the future of the children. How to affront sometimes like the frustration that you cannot find the solution right away. But it's always like trying and trying, and they start to learn that way that if you keep trying, you will find the way to achieve your goals. So it's basically that. It's not just coding, but it's another amount of skills that we are giving to the kids here in our courses. So that's it, like a tiny and pretty fast show of our classes in Kodarit 1.
Yeah, like you saw that we build those big codes by feature. So you need to think only one thing at a time. So you don't need to think that the whole game, and actually you even cannot, because that whole code doesn't fit to your head. So that is called algorithm thinking. That we have those some commands that we can use, and that someone has taught to, for example, those scratch characters. We can use those and those basic programming structures like loops and conditions and everything to solve our next problem. And that is how computer programs or devices, these smart devices, are built. Those images are first just stupid stickers or images, and we turn those to characters with those commands. And after that, those are smart images, so called game characters. But hey, now we have Ongo, Susilo, and Dichas, who has some experience.
So hello, Ongo and Diraj.
Hello.
We are very happy to have you both here today as our special guests. You are both parents of our students with Kodarit. And we prepared some questions for you so we can get to know better like why coding is so important for children, and the benefits that the children have from learning coding. So maybe I can I can share the questions with you, but I have it here. So I think that now we are all curious to know why, who was the main reason you decided to register your children with Kodarit classes. Maybe you can share your experience and your thoughts from the beginning.
Sure. So, what was the main reason for me to choose Kodarit?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I have been a teacher myself, and I have not. I mean, I teach mathematics, and I think that mathematical thinking is central to the development of child and the future. and until recently I was not sure at what point children should be introduced to coding and what would be the right approach, because it's also when children get into or step into the smart devices and the screen, you are actually asking them to get into the screen time more, and that could damage them in a different in a way, right? But then I happened to meet Suvi, and we discussed some of the approaches of how Kodarit introduces coding, and what is the pedagogy that is being followed. So some of the aspects like Elena and Hector already mentioned about, one about the fun part of it, two about the problem solving part of it, and I think that so this kind of appealed to me and said, this is a good way of introducing coding. I mean, there's no doubt that coding is the future. It's only the matter of how you introduce it. It should not be like playing games or watching TikTok, or just kind of having that dopamine rush, but it is the right level of challenge, problem solving, involvement, and the algorithmic thinking that we mentioned. That is what I thought Kodarit would do, and so these were my thoughts when we enrolled.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
Okay, so from my experience, can you hear me clear?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, all the way from Indonesia. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share. Now, like we having like the Christmas. Probably tells a little bit story about the Indonesia. We kind of like enjoy the Christmas vibe, but not as like in Finland. Uh, Currently, we are having a temperature in 30 degrees Celsius, which is totally different with what happens to Finland. Okay, but anyway, so why the reason why I register my daughter into Kodarit is it's just simple because our country require computational thinking skills uh, for all of the starting from the elementary actually, the primary school actually, and then you know most of the schools here in Indonesia, yeah, we have it. Like we have that course, but as an ECA, and then I see like there's a difference between the ECA, the extracurricular activity, and also what Kodarit provides. What Kodarit provides is kind of like a path, a way of learning how to code from the beginning. That's the thing that I need to understand that. While in ECA, it's more like you have fun, just sitting there, and I give you okay, it's a coding time, and I give you this activity, and then that's it. There's no learning pathway. If you can do it, good. If not, it's fine because you don't have to score that one. Like that's what happened back then. So that's why I registered my daughter to Kodarit coding school. Now she is in a black belt. I think it's a black belt. So yeah, it's quite far, a long journey for her also. They started early, and then what makes it good is because of the gamification. They use the game, so on, which is very interesting to the kids. Not heavy on the coding, with the word writing, typing. So it's a good thing. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why we register my daughter, our daughters to Kodarit, because of the how they make all the learning paths in coding, acquiring coding.
Yes. Yeah, this also very interesting to get to know also this point of view from the parents. So to move on to the next question, what specific skills or knowledge your child has learned in this coding classes with Kodarit? Like, is there any specific skill that maybe you have noticed after those coding classes, or something that you can share with us?
You want to go first, Ongo?
Yeah. Okay. So, so I'm up the one that really uh, or like showing in my daughter's experience after all the way until now, the black belt, is number one is the problem solving skill. It's not only the how she can do the code, the simple and so on. Not only that, but mostly is the problem solving skill. And I know what's it called. In coding we have also terms called sequencing, right? Sequencing. So it turns out that coding is helping a lot. How she sequence everything when she finds something difficult, like probably you know, like in social life or so, school, especially in math, she was easily how to make it into a sequence and then come up with an idea and also get a solution of the problem. So it's not something that I expect actually. As we as a parent sometimes we feel like what simple thing. Okay, when you learn coding, you need to do how to code. Okay, you have the product. Okay, show me. That's it. So I'm happy to pay you for that tuition and so on. But it turns out not only that, but also the other skills, the teaching skills that followed the coding classes. So that's one that I observe and I'm really pleased with that. To be honest, really pleased with that.
That's great. Yeah.
So for me, there are, two of my children participated, and my daughter is just 8 years, 8 years, and we see that she has been introduced to the fundamentals of logic. So uh, while talking, I kind of she can now articulate, if this, then something has to happen. But then the building blocks of logic is something that has got introduced. For my son, it has he's 10 years, and he has, I think, he has had some exposure to logic previously, and some exposure to some form of maths previously. But I see that he's enjoying developing that further on, and the video games that sometimes children play, now he finds some more fun in actually not just playing them, but say, okay, what could have uh, you know how can someone develop it. So he tries to create more fun with by combining some logical elements like loops and a looping thing, and some user interaction. So I think that's kind of been very interesting for us as parents.
Mm. Okay. This is also very nice to know. Moving on to the next question. By the way, I'm writing also the question just maybe for you to to have it on chat. So now I'm reading. So in your opinion, how will participating in the coding classes benefit your child in long term, and maybe both in academically and professionally? What do you think? How this will affect in their future, maybe?
Okay, thank you. So I think, I'll just take it from what Ongo was saying. Coding is the future, whether, and no matter what profession one is in, whether one ends up in a legal profession, medical profession, any profession, right? Smart devices are going to be everywhere. Data is going to be everywhere, and everyone who wants to do well will need to have a background to quickly uh, work with some or the other form of programming to extract that knowledge, or other way around, right? And also, we know that AI and other things are coming up, so it's about how you use that thing professionally, right? And this obviously, I think having fundamentals, or we know that for any subject and anyone to do any well, fundamentals have to be very strong, and this should help in building those fundamentals professionally, in my in my opinion. And obviously, academics, it has to help and go all the way in the professional life.
Yeah, I also agree with Kirat. Couldn't agree more about your opinion. Uh, I just want to highlight one more thing edit one more thing that we experience and we hope to show up from our daughter is the, the chance to to like learn or working together not only with the same Indonesian people because like the teacher is coming from Finland, right? The teacher come from Finland, even though it's online, somehow she needs to learn to work together with the people or the teachers that with a different background, culture, and so on. And then that's gain the confidence. That's really important. You know, the Indonesian students, Indonesian kids usually only hang out with the Indonesian. Okay, and when they probably they can speak English, they can communicate in English, but when they face like people from other countries, different race, and suddenly they have like you know they have like an early uh, culture shock, if I can say that. So it's like suddenly they cannot communicate at all. It's just like they feel like they don't have enough confidence to talk with other people like outside Indonesia, outside Asia in general. So that's the thing that I think is really gonna be benefited for her in the future. As you know that now digitalization is everywhere. Uh, it's shaping a new generation, changing the way of learning, it's changing the way of we work together with people. Like so, yeah, it's a really like open doors, open opportunity for for my daughter especially. And I think for the Indonesian students also that really is going to be helpful a lot.
For sure. Yes. Um, so the last question actually, what can you suggest to other parents and if you can give a feedback for Kodarit?
Yeah, let Monga answer this one first.
Okay, so my suggestion is just actually I already also suggest some of the parents. You can if you want to find coding school or coding class or coding activity for your children. Number one, I'm going to give you a tip that you need to know what is the structure of the learning. This is only give you an activity, just to fit your, let's just say, so your kids not spending time to do anything that unuseful there in the computer. But not only that, but also need to know how they manage to create a learning path because this one is very important. The success of your children learning coding because of this is the foundation of it. You need to see that. And then I think Kodarit is one of the best course, if I can say. I do many uh, background checks, not only Kodarit but also different brand that available in Indonesia. And I see Kodarit is still the best how to manage all of that. So yeah, so that's a suggestion also feedback to Kodarit.
Yes.
And I'm happy that you have babies. You have babies now. I'm so happy. Oh wow, you have babies now. Babies program. That's very good.
And for Diraj?
Yeah. So what I would suggest is that I think what is right with Kodarit and what should be coding should not be about syntax. It should not. It's not about syntax or it's not about any specific language at this age. It is about developing an algorithmic thinking. That is what needs to be promoted. It's that building blocks which children need to understand. I think Kodarit has got that right, and that's where I agree with Onga. This is one of the best schools because it does not promote syntax. It does not promote other things. What it kind of promotes is thinking and ability to think, right? So that's the right way of doing it. That would be my suggestion to the parents. And I don't have any specific feedback for Kodarit. It's wonderful. Let's continue.
That's great. Thank you for your answers. We really appreciate all the feedback and all the good things. And we are very happy that we have been helping children to develop all these kind of skills and yeah, as you said, like, let's continue.
But hey, if there is no more questions, thank you for your all for participating, and Merry
Thank you.
Christmas for everyone.
Merry
Merry
Christmas. And
Merry Christmas.
thank you. Thank you.
And thank you, team, also. That was
Okay, thank you.
nice and fun webinar.